Olekina, Mheshimiwa Kenneth Okoth, Ngunjiri Wambungu. They have occupied my bench. I'm on the sidelines here. Ngunjiri's taking over the show.
Yeah. What a show.
And then what's the pose?
Yeah, it's like this.
Mheshimiwa, we're talking in the break, we're talking about declaration of wealth. And last week, two prominent Kenyans declared their wealth. And then after that, shoom, the story died. What was wrong with us? What was wrong with declaring wealth or the way it was done?
I think it's nice, it's potentially important, but I also think it was irrelevant. People talk about corruption in the public sectors. Is the MP corrupt? Is the MCA corrupt? Is the governor corrupt? Are the cabinet secretaries corrupt? Are the staff and the civil servants in the ministry and the state house corrupt? Those are valid questions, even in the judiciary, in parliament. But most importantly is when they're being corrupt, aren't they giving tenders to the private sector? When you buy a computer that costs 50,000 for 120,000, you're buying it from the private sector that is willing to give kickbacks. Safaricom, on a bigger level, needs to be able to tell us, I am much less interested in the salary of Bob Collymore. That's his shareholders who should be interested in it. I'm not interested in that. That's showbiz. I want to know, does Safaricom commit itself, all its managers, Bob Collymore himself, that they will not do unethical business in Kenya. They will not pay a single bribe. They will not win a single government tender in a manner that suggests they influenced the process to get that tender or got that tender inflated. They will not pay. Is Safaricom an ethical company that does not bribe or engage in corruption? I want to know, and can they give us the specifics of major tenders they've won? For instance, the security contract. Those are the things we should be asking the private sector. When you're doing business in Kenya, are you doing clean business without corruption? That, to me, is more important because...
Ken, I think we have failed this nation, okay? Because we glorify multinational corporations. We kill local industries, you know? And in that case, corruption will never die. When you talk about this big multinational corporation that comes here, you as a member of parliament, I'm not saying you in particular, but someone else will see an avenue to make money. So that when the Keroches come in and they say we want to be protected, you're killing them, you know? So I think we need to invest in local industries so that we can be able to destroy that corruption. Because you remember very well that if Safaricom, Kenyans say, oh, it's Kenyan, it's Kenyan, it's Kenyan. It's not Kenyan. It's mostly owned by foreigners, you know? So I think for us, we need to talk about solutions. What are the solutions? We need to protect local industries. We need to protect Kenyan-owned companies, Keroche breweries, any other company that is 100% Kenyan. That is when we will be able to kill this corruption. And then government has also got to set up, because I mean, I saw all these, the private sector coming in and saying, we are ready to fight corruption. But like the MP is saying, really, can they come out and say, the tenders we got, Safaricom got a 15 billion tender?
For security services? Yes. Following the Korea University
attacks. Are you trying to tell me that Kenyans could, and what did they do for them to be able to get that?
Well, the CCTV cameras all over the city.
The CCTV, are they really working? You know,
they're not working. The people of Kikuyu constituency want to know who killed Muchai. We can't get a single picture from the cameras right at that point. You know, so we need to ask ourselves who's getting these contracts and what are they doing. But speaking of corruption, let me just tell you a thought. When we speak about corruption, the next group of people, we talked about how we have institutions that run and check themselves. 3 branches of government, the media, the social media as a 4th leaf there. But most importantly, with civil society and the clergy, the religious institutions. These were moral voices of authority that challenged the Moi regime, its excesses in corruption and dictatorship and lack of freedoms. Where are they today? Where is their voice? And let us talk about the issues that affect our country today. HIV/AIDS, we haven't finished that fight. What are the churches doing? What's the Kenya Film Commission doing? They are saying no advertisements of condoms.
They want to ban ads, or the ban ads, right?
The condoms are not the problem. The fact is our children are dying. The evidence-based policy is that young people are engaging in sexuality and sex very early. How can we put appropriate sex education? How can we talk about condoms without demonizing them and saying, you know, wrong facts like 1 in every 12 condoms breaks? Let us go with the reality. So for myself, I think that's a problem. And you see the corruption in the churches. When it's important things are supposed to hold the government accountable, they don't do it. And I think part of it is that the churches have become too beholden to the harambes from the politicians.
True.
We know
Very
our
true.
politician in Kenya, the average, the best paid politician in Kenya earns maybe 2 million or less. The average politician in the National Assembly or Senate, 1 million. The county assembly is less. When churches, including my own Catholic churches, will allow to the pulpit, which never happened when I was a child, a politician, because they're bringing to a harambe millions and hundreds of thousands that are beyond their lifestyle, lifestyle audit and their genuine earnings, and they don't ask
They
the
look the
questions.
other way.
They're competing. So once you take the money from the wrong people,
Yeah.
of course you've bought your silence and your moral authority to speak is gone.
Ngunjiri,
And so I
yeah.
think we need to discuss the role of the churches and the faith community in this country.
Ngunjiri, before I let
Will
you
they-
speak, guess what happened?
Oh, you found one.
Oh,
finally.
man.
This is a water-based one.
Yeah,
I
I
like
think-
this.
That's water, man.
Yes.
Oh, Achana.
He'll do the job. He'll do the
It's
job.
okay. We'll use it on Olekina, on Ledama.
Ngunjiri,
why?
you were saying,
see,
the church, by
what
the
I
way, the
like-
church
Yes.
came out during
Yes.
the Pope's time.
Yeah.
You saw that,
Yes,
huh?
yes.
They came out for like 3
Yes.
minutes.
Yes.
And then
And once
went
the
back
Pope
down.
left, they went.
What I like, what I really like about what these guys are talking about now is that, you know, we have had this conversation in this country about corruption, like it's a government problem, and it's important. In fact, what Ledama said about large corporation, big corporation, big what are they called? Big business.
Multinational.
Big business is what runs corruption. You know, we keep talking about, of course, government has responsibility to stop corruption. But the guys who actually come to you with 100 million, I mean, very few Kenyans are going to give you 100 million bribe. The guys who can afford to do that are guys who are turning over $1 billion worth of
yes.
business. I mean, 100 million Kenya shillings is peanuts, literally. So it is important for us to actually diversify and push the push our businesses to grow. But then also, and this is something I had the president talk about recently, we need to turn around the payments of tenders in government. Because you know what happens? Part of the justification suppliers use for selling a computer worth 50,000 shillings to government for 120,000 shillings
It's the terms
is
of
that
payment.
these guys are going to take a year before they pay me. So I need to charge you the cost of that money. But you see, if we had a fixed turnaround period of payments, suppliers,
Then we
then
could
you have
sell that.
absolutely no reason to overcharge. You can actually buy on market rate or below market rate because you're buying in bulk, because government buys in bulk. But then what we have is a situation where a fire extinguisher like this could cost, what, 5,000 bob? But if you're selling it to government, you sell it for 30,000 bob.
Right.
And then
100,000.
how you argue, how you justify, when you get caught out, and people are making noise about how much more you spent, you've sold it as compared to market rate, the guy says, but these guys are going to take...
Quick
So
question.
the problem
Does
is-
that explain the wheelbarrows in Bungoma and the curtains in Embu?
You see now,
409,000.
these are the kind of conversations we need to be having, because what you'll find,
Yeah.
first and foremost, that particular tender was passed through a system all the way to the end. Got paid. Thank God for Kenyans on Twitter. Yes, they came out and said boss, and then everybody started going all over the place and saying we're investigating. But then you'll find that those are the justifications. First, we hear about that it was an open tender, a tender in process, and that's where corruption is coming.
Okay,
So we have the
let me
government
just add
official.
one
Let
point
me
to-
finish.
which-
We have the government official on this side, who is actually getting thrown, who people are throwing money at, and then we have a moral fabric in this country that doesn't have a problem with corrupt people. That's the problem we have.
Very, very true.
The general
And I
public
think-
doesn't have a problem with corrupt
Ngunjiri,
people.
Let me tell you something.
So we tend
you know
to
what bothers
to
me?
re-elect them into
every
office.
day when you take every newspaper, the Business Daily.
Yeah.
You know, the first thing you see is a multinational corporation, you know, corruption. The other day it was BAT, you know, and this is all about killing local businesses, you know. And I think as part of government, because I might say you speak for that government.
No, I just
you
speak
know,
for the country.
You probably, I don't know, but I think all
I've
of
got
us,
too many
as we
people
look
speaking
back-
against the country.
Listen,
Somebody needs to
no,
stand with
listen.
the country.
No,
As
you're
we
a
look
gongo.
back at 2015,
No.
Ngunjiri, as we look back in 2015, we have to see what is killing this competition. You know, why are local companies being put down? You know, we need to focus on investing in those, because when you support a local economy, you're supporting that woman in Kibera. You know, you're supporting that child in Nyeri.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
supporting
Don't
that
forget
child in Masailand. You know, but if you focus on supporting this multinational corporation,
who ship
because-
out all their profits.
they ship out. The moment you, like if it's a beer, the moment you drink that beer, it's out. The moment you take that soda, it's out. that revenue is out. So we need to focus.
Yeah.
The only way we can kill corruption is for us to realize that even the president himself, he's got to open up to welcoming local companies. When you go to the Association of Manufacturers, only the people who pay the top dollar are the ones who sit in a round table with the president.
Gentlemen, real quick. You talk about 100 million being next to nothing, right?
For $1 billion.
Correct.
Annual turnover.
Who is Ben Geddy?
Actually, he's from my shads.
35 years old?
So,
31.
He spent 585 million.
He's from my shads.
Are you kidding me?
Man.
Who is this guy?
Where we are learning about him.
Is he a fall guy?
So
Is
how
he
many
a-
of
Actually,
those
is he-
are there?
I'm actually, I tend to believe he's a fall guy. That thing is two-part. You know the way he's just some guy who ended up being the front for someone, and then now he's gotten cut off from the structure. And
Yeah.
he's going to go to jail.
He's going to go.
Oh, yeah,
He's letting people get away.
man.
Yeah.
And Weshibu, at the end of the day, this scandal will go away, and then
people won't forget.
Kenyans move on.
Yeah.
You know, this is the kind of thing that makes me want to cry, because a year ago we were in Kibra with the president, the deputy president, celebrating 3 months into the NYS project in Kibra. It was a beautiful project because the young people in the community were engaged in a very great manner. The people who had graduated from NYS were getting practical experience in the field with communities, not just what they had learned in their training camps. And all these young people in Kibra who will never get a chance to go to Gilgil to get those skills, were getting them on the ground as they were participating. And then later on we are shocked, because here we are, a plan that has been mooted to do very well, the vision of the president, and I believed him, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I still do. When the report comes out that in Kibra constituency, a very small place geographically, 300 million shillings was spent on Kokoto. You know what Kokoto is?
Yeah.
300 million. Do you know how much Kokoto that is?
that will
You
fill the
could
whole
have
of
paved
Superhighway.
every path in Kibra on would be solid ground. So that person needs to go to jail. But number two, everything they have needs to come back to the government.
Yeah. Yes.
If you bought a Range Rover with it, we
Needs to
want
come
that
back.
Range Rover sold, auctioned, and the money back in our account. And I want to say, even as we fight corruption here, President Uhuru and his team have their hands full. I'm willing to help him however I can. All leaders need to put our hands on deck to help. Our international partners should not just tell us that they have visa bans and not tell us who it is. We'll find out through Freedom of Information Act who are on those lists. But number two is they need to tell us, if you know there's 10 corrupt Kenyans who you're banning from travel to the United States, to the United Kingdom, to Switzerland, to Sweden, tell us how many accounts they have there, how many properties they own there, and why haven't you sold and closed the money that they've kept in your banks and sent it back here? Why are you still keeping your banks
Ledama,
holding those money?
Is it going to take
so
that
we
arrest?
need a full...
Is it going to take that arrest, freezing of those accounts,
recovery of the assets?
ostracization? Is that what it's going to take?
Absolutely, because there's no way we are going to win the war on corruption if we don't take action. I think what the president ought to do is that he needs to respect the independence of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. And then whatever they find someone guilty, it's not just going to jail. Everything has got to be sold and that money given back. And until we do that, Kenyans are not going to be happy. Because every time you're just telling us, oh, I'm doing this, I'm fighting corruption. You're not fighting corruption.
Gentlemen, we have a new player here. This might work. Let me take out the pin. Let me take out the pin. Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
You guys ready?
Oh! You should fight corruption that way, man.
We should start, with Ben Geddy. And you should
Who
tell
is
us
Ben
who.
Geddy?
And who his friends.
Jeff, there's also something else we keep forgetting about,
Yes.
the fight against corruption.
Yeah.
Part of the problem about the fight against corruption is that we have a law. We have laws.
Come on.
No, let me explain.
Give me a break. We have a law, but the judiciary...
in China, they shoot corrupt guys.
Then let's start shooting
But you
them.
can't.
Okay?
You see, this is the
If
problem.
that's what it takes,
You see,
let's start doing it.
But then these guys need to change the law and allow us to start shooting guys who are corrupt. The problem we have, part of the problem we have is this, that most often than not, the seriously corrupt guys have a lot of cash. So what tends to happen is that you take that guy to court. He's going to wrap up our judicial system for years.
No.
So
The
we
Chief
need-
Justice
we need-
came
no,
up
no.
and said
But you see, he
he's
has
now
laws.
trying to find a way to expedite that.
But you see,
Okay? So what we need to be talking about Ngunjiri,
the problem
is
is
that we want that process expedited.
But you see, the Chief Justice cannot make new laws. He can
cannot
only
make
work
law-
with the
but-
ones he
but
has.
Listen, But you know, if you're the head of the institution and you're trying to have a solution, then you get that solution. Why is it that, let me ask you a very simple question. Why is it that right now in Nairobi, the appeal cases we're hearing are for 2012? Why is it that in Nyeri, they are current? In Malindi, they are current?
But Ledama,
because you're missing my point.
Ngunjiri has a point
You're
in
missing
that,
my point.
that corruption can buy its way all the way.
And then also not just by its way. We have a system. You see, when we talk about freedom, we talk about our lovely constitution. The thing about our lovely constitution is that it gives rights to everyone.
True.
So that when I wake up and I say you're corrupt and I find you, I mean, for the first time when I was growing up, I can't remember people going to court to get orders to stop themselves from being arrested. Now we actually can do that. I keep seeing.
But is that available for common man?
What I'm saying is, but it's there. It's a law. It's part of the law.
Quick answers. Are we ever going to win the war on corruption, Ledama?
No, we're not.
Mheshimiwa, in our lifetime?
What would Magufuli do? You set a tone. You set a tone. You say, and actually, can I tell you, I am feeling the Magufuli effect is already starting to take effect, if I can share with you here in Kenya.
Go on.
The Parliament of Kenya, we've been on recess, then we've been called back to look at the appointments and to vet them and debate them and pass them or reject them, which the cabinet wants or passed today. Most of the PSs will be debated through tomorrow and voted upon. Do you know, Parliament suddenly decided no more retreats. You can meet in Parliament and decide those things in Parliament.
Wow.
No retreats.
Wow.
So
God.
Magufuli is doing good things for us. I, of course, may have a natural sitting allowance, and I'm not taking mileage.
I know Ngunjiri is going to be talking about
but I think it's important when you ask. Leadership matters, and I think President Uhuru Kenyatta has had 3 phases. The first phase is when the focus on getting in, trying to set your agenda, trying to negotiate with your coalition, as well as fighting the ICC debate. That consumed a lot of time and energy. Now the ICC debate and the issues and concerns are pretty much moved to the periphery. We don't know what will happen to the Ruto case, but pretty much as we move forward, it's less of a burden to him. Now he has to ask himself, will I have a legacy? Will I have an impact on corruption? Will I improve the quality of education in this country? Will I improve infrastructure? Will I change the cost of business and the nature of business to pump up this economy and revitalize it? Will he basically deliver all the beautiful promises that I agree with that were in the Jubilee Manifesto? 80% of them were in the Code Manifesto, which this gentleman helped us to write.
You guys
so I'm just telling you, I think on the major issues we are agreed. He can tell you he's a Jubilee friend now, but when he was with us in COD, editing and drafting our documents, 80% he can tell you. So the president has to implement, and the question is, what would Magufuli do? And every time I praise Magufuli on my Twitter, some people react very illogically. They think it's a criticism.
Actually, let me react to Magufuli.
Real quick.
It's actually, he's an amazing guy. He's doing amazing stuff. It's less than 60 days. He's not even done his first 100 days. I'd be very hesitant to start praising him at this moment in time.
Because you think he's going to burn out?
Not even just burn out. We had a president like that in Kenya. I mean, we had, when Moi took over, he was building gabions. He was really doing nice stuff. I want to judge Magufuli when he's done 3 years. Not now.
No.
Why?
Okay,
You know why?
Gentlemen, we literally have 1 minute. We have 1 minute to go before we end the show. Final thoughts, Ledama. That's your camera there. Final thoughts.
I think as we look back into 2015, we have to really think about the problems we made. And as we go to 2016, I want to urge all Kenyans to join the fight against corruption, invest in local industries, support local economies, because that's the only way we're going to make a difference in this country. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Ledama. Mheshimiwa.
My camera?
This one, same one.
I think my message is to the young people of this country who feel they're being left behind, and the leaders who've been given the sacred duty to lead this country and create opportunity for all. There's a lot of young people who are being left out of this country with all kinds of skills and qualifications, with all valid dreams like yours and I. They want to get together and an honest living, start a family, afford a decent, clean home, and they're not getting it in Kenya right now. We hear about an economy that's growing, but it's not creating jobs. That's a crisis in our hand, and I call all leaders to focus on that, because if we don't focus on it, these young people will turn from an asset to a liability for this country. So I wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Let us live in respect and brotherhood with each other, and let us as leaders focus on finding solutions that will create opportunity for every single Kenyan.
Thanks, Mheshimiwa. Good stuff. Ngunjiri, that's your camera there in the middle.
Oh, okay. I want to talk. I also want to talk to young people. I especially want to think about the guys who are struggling to find their cause in life, and the confusion that sometimes you get to hear, and you start getting depressed and you think that we are losing it. I think I would like to urge you to take a lesson. I mean, Ken Okoth and myself and Olekina do not necessarily agree on our political positions, but we can sit here and have a conversation. I think I would want to urge you, especially as we go into the holidays, think about the fact that our country is always going to be bigger than whatever political differences we have. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well done. Gentlemen, listen, before we go, I always make sure that I give you some gifts, parting gifts. So,
I ask you, are you running?
am I running for what?
We have to declare.
Mheshimiwa, this is the closest I can get to green, Guinea Wasekao, so you get the green. Yeah. Masai, you know, people like red. Yeah. Okay.
Brilliant.
Ngunjiri, you get the Nyeri colors.
Yeah, black.
All right.
I don't know what to say.
No, can we switch?
Oh, you want to switch?
Yes, I
you
like
want
black.
black?
No.
I'll persuade him later, but I like blue.
Brilliant.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Merry Christmas to you all.
Christmas.
Thanks for your time.
All right.
And you know what I like about you guys?
Thank you.
You're all young, you're all vibrant, and this is the future. Late 30s, early 40s.
All those guys we're talking about are going to leave us here.
They are.
Yeah, in 10 years, 15 years,
I
we
want
will
to give
be
you a
here.
space to host the bench once or twice next year in Kibra. with
Honestly?
our young people.
I'll come.
And
I'll put it
Masai.
out in my office, make it easy for the young people to come and engage.
You hear that? You hear that, gentlemen? We got
And
witness.
Narok, you have to come to
Will you
Narok.
have one of these? Are you going to have one of these?
Yes, we'll do. We'll find. We have
You
this.
guys need to stop getting scared like that.
No, but this dude, man, this is Gus. I'm used to water and a spear.
Thanks so much, Willie. I'm sorry, man. Willie's behind the camera. He's half dead now. Thanks so much, gentlemen. And let's keep talking.
Will you come to Narok?
I'll come to absolutely. When it stops raining.
Jeff, can I do my part? Can I do my part?
Oh, yeah,
All
go
right.
ahead.
I was
Okay,
co-hosting.
there's camera. There's camera.
co-hosting.
There's your camera.
What do you say?
Let's give him a second try.
Take two.
All right.
We must keep talking because the day we stop talking is the day we start fighting.
There you go. All right.
That's brilliant.
Keep your day job.
Yep.
Thanks so much to my
It's
guests,
been real.
Ledama Olekina, Mheshimiwa Kenneth Okoth from Kibra, and of course Ngunjiri Wambungu. It's been great talking to
It's
these
been
young
real.
men,
It's been real.
and it's important that we keep talking. Tomorrow night, by the way, Ben Geddy wants to come on the show.
Oh,
Should I allow him?
no. Let him return the money first. Yeah.
Is he?
You see, also,
Someone needs to ask him. Did he steal this money?
you know, that's the thing we have. I
But
mean,
you
we
see
have
the
to
problem,
imagine.
Jeff,
his-
we glorify
his
that.
innocent.
Exactly.
Okay?
Glorify.
I
glorify
think
that.
your show is
know?
an institution that should not be used to sanitize
Yes.
and dignify.
You know
rubbish.
what PLO said?
So
let me
please,
just finish with it.
Let,
You know
let
what
other
PLO
media
said?
houses deal with it. Don't bring him
Anytime
on.
we have a coup in a country, people dance. Every time when someone is accused of corruption, people dance. Africans need to stop dancing and using their brains.
Nice.
You know?
Beautiful.
That's what we need to do.
I like that. Folks, keep tweeting at Ledama, at Okoth Kenneth, at Ngunjiri Wambungu. And mine is at Koinange Jeff, the hashtag State of the Nation. Thanks so much for joining us tomorrow night. We'll be right here at the Villa Rosa Kempinski with this fire extinguisher, which is working. Thanks so much. Keep tweeting.
Should I come?
Keep his day job. He wants to be an intern. Give him a 6-month internship.
Good night. Good luck. God bless.
It's been real, man.
Thank you much, Mua.